Now, I want to address a video I posted about why you should not use alligator pepper. A lot of people have come on my comment section to insult me and talk a lot of things that I know nothing. I am trying to prove that I know all when it comes to spirituality. But that's not the case. We are all learners and we are trying to improve ourselves. It's just that some of us have more or deeper spiritual wisdom as revealed by the Spirit itself. Now, I want to tell you why I said, and I was able to make it clear in that video, why you should never use alligator pepper for any form of calling wealth or whatsoever. Now, one of the major problems we have in the African spirituality or the African traditional religion is the adoption of the white man or the Western religious tactics. And so we have diversity within the African traditional religion, whereas it was not so. Even the Yoruba spirituality, the Igbo spirituality, the Bantu spirituality, all of them put together, you will see massive similarity. It's just like, it's not just similarity, it's a tradition, spirituality that was passed from our ancestors down to countless generations. But now the advent of Christianity and Islam and other upcoming religion have made a dent, if I have to use that, to the African spirituality, tradition and belief system. And so we come up with things that using of cloves, bitter cola, cola nuts, alligator pepper to call wealth, to do some form of spiritual things. Let me tell you, everything you see on the internet that you used to call wealth, it does not happen. It does not work that way. If you use it and it worked for you, you are possessed. You are actually being given some sort of incentive for worshiping a deity or a force that is supposed to bow to you. Now, let me clarify the uses and why alligator pepper has no spiritual power whatsoever. Let me say it again. The alligator pepper has no spiritual power. You have been brainwashed by the new age African spiritualists. Some of you will say, but even in Igbo land, in Yoruba land, you want to tell us you are so, now you know pass. You know, they use it in our forefathers. Did you know when our forefathers lost their tradition and spirituality? More than 200 to 300, almost 500 years ago, the original belief system of the African spirituality was lost. So if you're talking about your great, see, if you are an 80 years old man listening to me right now, and you open your mouth and say alligator pepper have some level of spirituality, you don't know what you're saying, because whatever thing you think you're practicing is a diluted originality of the African traditional religion or the African spirituality. Now let me take you back to where we started, the ancient Egypt. Whatever thing you worship today, whatever thing you see today that have some level of spiritual power, we are not things that was worshipped then. One of the things about the African community is the emas unrivaled, unmatched wisdom and knowledge and science that was built within us. And this was what scared the whites. This was what scared the Romans, the Greek, the barbarians. They called us barbarians, but they were actually barbarians. When they came, they see the level of technology, of advancement, of wisdom and knowledge. When they came, they already saw a university in Egypt. When they came, they already saw documentation, papyrus, the book, the invention of paper from the papyrus plant. We were already documenting, we were already putting documentation about our self-experiences, history, our ancestors. And all of this documentation was what made up the great library of Alexandria. And when that library was destroyed, a lot of African history, knowledge, mythology, pantheon, we lost them. And some of these are books that were taken from us, are resting in the Roman Catholic Church, locked out of the reach of the public. Do you know how many thousand books that is not allowed for the public to have access to? Books that if they come out today, Africa pride and glory will be restored. I'm not here to talk about the origin of Africa and the spiritual of Africa, but I just want to make you understand why the alligator pepper do not hold so much spiritual power that you guys put on it. And I'm going to give you the revelation that was given to me by the Spirit. And I can tell you that even if you do not believe, if you go deep to go and study the original African spirituality, you will agree with me that yes, this person is speaking the truth. Because the only reason why I was sent on earth is a reminder There is nothing special about me. I'm just a reminder to remind you that which you've forgotten, that which that is embedded in you, the alligator pepper. In the ancient Egypt, plants, animals were means of knowledge and teaching. And so when you see the sun was never worshipped in the ancient Egypt. The Romans adopted it, and the early Egyptians adopted the worship of the sun. The ancient Egyptians were not worshiping sun. So the sun was more of like a lesson. It's like a classroom. So when the sun is rising, you see our ancient fathers telling them, this is how life is. A time will come in your life that you will rise like the sun, and you're bright, you are shining like the sun. And a time is coming that you are going to set. And when you set, somebody else is going to rise again. So at the time that you are shining like the sun, make sure that you touch every heart and bring peace and what? Happiness into the life of people. And then you find out that sometimes when the sun is shining, the cloud change and there is rain falling. It becomes another lesson to the children. There are times that you will rise and you are shining, and an enemy will come with storm and drive the children away from the streets. When that happens, do not despair. Another day is coming. You will rise and shine again. And sometimes they use the moon. All of these that God has created. It's even written in the Bible. The herbs are created for you, for your medicine, for your food. Say, let there be sign. Even in the Quran, it's written them. All of these, they are signed to you for those who believe and those who have knowledge. All of this, let me just tell you, from the Quran to the Bible, were stories that were coined from the ancient Egyptians' history. Stories that were written down as means of lesson to what? To children, that were stored in libraries. All of those were things they brought into the Bible and the Quran. There is no evidence anywhere that somebody called Mary gave birth to Jesus. It's an ancient Egyptian story that was used to teach children about the Immaculate Conception. Immaculate Conception is not an actual woman giving birth to a man without having what? Sex. The Immaculate Conception is a divine, more of like a lesson that was given to our ancient fathers in the ancient Egyptians about life, how a child is born, and when a child is born, he grows, and when he grows, sometimes a time is going to come that he's definitely going to leave the world. And so the mother earth is the mother which represents Mary itself. And all of us are what? The children of the earth. Nothing made love with the mother earth to bring us out. But within us, we are replicating ourselves. Those were the examples when our ancient fathers were asked, how did we come here? How come we are alive? Where did we come from? Those were the only plausible stories they could tell their children. Oh, you want to know how we came to life? You say yes. Our mother Mary, according to the Nedunata language, it's the beloved. The ancient Greek language, it means the beloved. He said Mary had an immaculate conception, gave birth to a son, and through the son salvation came, and then mankind came to being. And this was what was coined into the teachings of Christianity, saying that there is somebody called Jesus. And this was copied by the Arab. The Arab know nothing. They didn't go to school. They don't even know how to write. 600, 500, 400 AD, 600, 500, 100, 300 AD. The Arab know nothing about writing. They have nothing about writing. They don't know how to write. They don't know how to read. It was when they had encountered Africa, Ethiopia, Egypt. That was when they started what? Writing and reading. And they adopted the ancient African writing. And you can know, starting from the advent of Islam, that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam does not know how to read nor write. And when they came to Africa, they were able to capture someone that knows how to read and write. And that person was Bilal. Bilal was the only one who could write and read. And so Bilal was the one who translated the original history of the people of Egypt, the Ethiopia, and handed them over to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that is why you can see so much similarity between the Quran and the Bible, because they both came from the same source. Ancient African history, mythology, pantheology, all of them put together that represent the true African spirituality was what you see in the Bible today. And all of these, we've lost them. And so we come up with stupidity that is African traditional religion. If you go back to African traditional religion, you will understand that whatever thing that is happening in the West today, computers we see today, we are supposed to be the one building them. If you study African traditional religion, it's a science of its own that beats chemistry. When you go down to the ancient Egyptians, we were already developing tools for surgery, for computerization, for signals. We already understand the power of what? Invisible force and signals that the white man studied, and they come up with what? Electromagnetic wave signals. And then we have internet, wireless internet, Bluetooth, and the rest of all of these were studies that were ancient Egypt, even before Christ came, before the advent of the Romans and the barbarians, the German. Back to alligator pepper. Now let me leave the ancient Egypt. You already understand now that the ancient Egypt, they use all these animals, plants, as a form of lesson to teach them about how life is. I gave you the example of the sun. Back to the Yoruba and the Igbos. Why alligator pepper? Now, if I'm talking about the alligator pepper, I must be able to talk about the kola nut, and that is going to be another video entirely. Why kola nut has no spiritual word power. Also, the bitter kola has no spiritual power. Is a beautiful topic that is coming up. And if you believe and if you want to support the video, you can send me anything. You subscribe, share this video. The number of traction I see in this video is going to motivate me to do video on the kola nut and bitter kola and how to use them and why they don't have any spiritual effect. Now, when you look at the alligator pepper, our ancient fathers, our ancestors understood the health benefit of the alligator pepper and how it goes with bitter kola and kola nut. The story is about when you look very well, African community were synonymous with people that are nomadic. They don't stay in one place. And so if I move into this area today, myself and my wife and children, and my children are becoming men, and my daughters are becoming women, they married, my first son, my second son, and one of my daughter and the husband might decide to go like 1,000 or 2,000 kilometers away and start up a farm, a community there. Once in 4 moon or 3 moon, they travel back to meet me, their father, to pay homage. And this is where you see different communities in Africa speaking similar languages or speaking something very common. Because if my children migrate 1,000 kilometers away, the children of another person from a different place that must have migrated for somewhere are meeting. So you can see the language change. And that is why the Isoko call plantain ubiere, the Urobo call it ogede or odere, and the Bini call it ogede. The Yoruba call it same thing, sounding similar. That is because different migration affected the language itself, but the fidelity of the sound and the vowels remained the same. You see where a Bini person bearing essay, and we say, my name is Essay. We are from where? Are you from Isoko? You say, no, I'm a Bini. Essay. Say yes. The Urobo bear essay. The Isoko bear essay. The Benin people, they bear essay. So this migration requires that the children come to visit me, their father. And when they come, something is done. And that thing that is done, bitter kola is accompanied. Alligator pepper is accompanied to it. Why is he accompanied to it? Look at what the alligator pepper does. Because alligator pepper is going to be in short supply for my children that just migrated. They are constantly going to come home to get the seedling and get part of it that they are going to consume for one reason. Like I said, even prior our forefathers, science was already in existence. They already know the health benefits of different herbs, animals, and cosmology. A lot of things were happening across the African community. So you ask yourself, why would a father like me decide to give my children alligator pepper? Alligator pepper contains a lot of chemicals that as human beings we cannot produce them ourselves. Chemicals that can destroy fibroids, chemicals that can kill bacteria and malaria and infection. All of these are things that my children need to survive as they are going, and that has to be accompanied with what? Bitter kola or kola nut. And one of the greatest taboo in our ancient African belief is when a woman cannot give birth to a child, it is assumed that the woman is cursed. And majority of the time, they even assume that the man must have done something. And one of the major reasons why our great-grandmothers and our great-great-great-great-great-grandfathers, they were very potent, was because of the large number of consumption of these nuts and fruits. There were no salad, there were no mayonnaise, there were no noodles, there were no semovitas. They were consuming a lot of these nuts, which help their prostate, which help as agent for aphrodisiac, destruction of fibroid, resetting of the womb, fertility. And that is why when a man comes to visit you in the ancient African tradition, the first thing they give you is the kola nut, because they assume that you have come a long distance. Why would you be offered kola nut when you come to visit them? The next video I'm going to talk about it. So the alligator pepper has no spiritual what? Value. Rather, it was for health benefits. The advent of different belief systems interwoven with the African traditional belief was what that gave birth to all of these people raising their own shrine and raising their own gods. In the ancient Egypt, we have only one God. The original African traditional religion, it is one God, the creator of the heavens and the earth. The Yoruba call him Obatala. The Orishas are not gods. Ivie is not a god. The deity of your community, we are not gods, they are phenomenals. The English language call it anthropomorphism. They are not gods, it's anthropomorphism. The characteristics that is given to a phenomenon like that of a human. And so when you go out to the sea to pray, and then you see the vastness of the sea, the mightiness of the sea, the rising of the sea, and you ask for wealth and fertility and children, and you get home after 7 months, beautiful things started coming to your life. Wow, the spirit of the sea. Let us call it Olokun, because it's neither a man nor a woman. We did not see it. Let's call him Olokun. And they see the vastness of the power of thunder and lightning. You say, wow, that's a powerful one. Let's call it what? Shango. Anthropomorphism. Because you did not go to school. It was something that was very paramount in the African traditional system and community. It's not because we are worshiping African traditional religion. Is not polytheism like Christianity. And that is why when Islam arose, Islam was able to copy the ancient Egyptians' belief system, which is what? Monotheism, one God. But the Romans were not comfortable. The Romans were after power. I am a god. They love praising themselves, calling themselves gods. And so when they infiltrated the belief system of the Ethiopia, because if they tell you the Roman Catholic Church, they know anything about Christianity. No, Christianity was a branch of African traditional belief system that was practiced almost 900 years even before the advent of Christianity. Almost 900 years before the advent of Christianity. It was a system. It has nothing to do with somebody dying on the cross. It's a veneration of the Mother Earth and the unity between man and God, the immaculate conception of the world and the children within. The African traditional religion do not practice what? Polytheism. The Juju, different gods. No, we have only one God. And that God, we don't know where he is. We know there is a supreme power above. But that supreme power manifests itself through thunder and lightning and the earth and the moon and the sun and things around. And all of this phenomena was what brought about Olokun, Orisha. The different Orishas are the Olokun, your deities, the deities of your community that you have now started representing as a god somewhere talking. No, we use their forces and their energy and their spirituality to get what we want. We don't worship them. That's why in the watered religion we have only one God, and we call it the ancient waters, and we also call it the ancient spirits, because it manifests itself with whatever thing you want to manifest, omnipotent, omnipresent. So you that is using alligator pepper to draw forth wealth, it does not have any spiritual power. If you think it's working for you, no, you are practicing a deceptive demonic what? Practice that is not African what? Tradition. Yes, even in the African tradition we have righteousness and we have evil. All of it is what we believe. But our fathers were teaching us to always lean towards righteousness. And this belief system was what brought about the story of Cain and Abel, because evil starts with envy and jealousy. All of these, they found themselves in the Bible. There's no story of anybody called Cain and Abel. Neither is there anybody called Adam and Eve. Those were ancient African stories that they tell the children to teach them what life was all about. The alligator pepper has health benefits. If you are a woman, eat a lot of it. Add it to your diet. Your fibroid will disappear. You are a man, it helps your prostate. It's a natural aphrodisiac. It has no spiritual anything. If you want to make it and have money in this life, and you want to add some spirituality to it, there are things that are specially created that our fathers represented as they represent the spirit of wealth. The cowries, the seashells, water, and the mother earth. If you want to go far, you can use the palm front. And if you want to know how to use them, I will tell you. I am standing here telling every Ezewain and spiritualist in Nigeria, Africa, and voodoo worshipper, you are going against the original African traditional religion. We don't worship deities. We don't bow down to wolves. We don't worship anything in the water. There are no marine spirits we bow to. We bow to the one true God. The one they call Obatala, the one they call Ogene, the one they call Oloru, the one and the only one. We don't know where it is, but it's a force of the universe. It's the energy, the cosmos energy that is limitless, that has no beginning or no end. The Orishas, they are not human beings that lived on earth and called forth thunder from their mouth. They were stories that were told about the mightiness of the existence and the extension of the power of Obatala, the God of all the universe. And you go about bowing down before Shango, bowing down before all the Orishas. How is your life? When you embrace the true spirituality, you will understand that the Yoruba tradition tried, but our modern day traditional belief system have made naught to it. And our ancestors 1,000 years ago, they are in tears looking at what is happening in Yoruba land, in the Igbo land, in the Benin Kingdom, in the Bantu region, in the ancient Egypt, in the modern Egypt, in Ghana, in Sierra Leone, in Cameroon, in Angola, because we've been infiltrated.
Uzih, burn, you're the light I see. Your light has brought hope to my bones. Death has lost our shames on me. You have brought grace and mercy to the heart of a dying soul. Even in death we see life, 'cause you remind us who we are. Ancient spirit, bless us all. Speak, speak, oh, speak, speak. Remind us, oh, remind us, oh, speak, speak. Uzih, speak.